You already commented on this kid leaving. Then he does a video, of course, about his departure from Colorado, Cormani.
Narrative of everyone's thinking on my name, be a part of a real and a great program that's going to impact me at my best ability. And yeah, ready to get to a new place and get to work. Yeah, I feel like I just don't want to play for clicks. I actually want to be involved with a great leading program that's going to develop players. With that being said, that'll wrap up all the questions asked from you guys.
Okay, so look, I've had disgruntled players. We all have that have left for whatever reason. Unless you're in the program, we don't really know. So here's the issue. We had words for him, that kid there last week on the show. Listen, I shared a text with some of you guys. Let me ask you guys something. Is there, like, let me ask you something, though. This kid, and then, listen, there's a guy that covers Colorado, Matt. I don't know his name, but I blocked him. I didn't know who he was. I had him blocked on my Twitter, and Smitty sent me a thing that he had said.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it. I'm like, well, I blocked him for some reason, too, so I don't know if I trust this guy. But he's like he covers Colorado in the media of some sort, and he came out and tweeted, Cormani also does some crazy shit at the Houston nightclubs that I don't even want to talk about, but we're not going to go there. Well, that's like some shit like, well, you cover him, homie. Talk about it if you're such a great knower of all things. I just think there's a lot of tattletelling going on. So, where are you at with his latest video that he made? And he took certain shots, obviously, at Dion by saying, oh, I want a real program and all this. I've had disgruntled guys, too. I'm not taking that with full grain of salt, but I also know sometimes there's smoke, there's fire. So where are you at with this as far as your gray area take that you have on this? Because you have to cover both, because you have players you coach and you have coaches you cover. So where do you get from this whole thing?
He's not wrong. There's lots of clicks. I mean, that's what they do. But he knew that when he went there. That's exactly what was going on when he went there, too. So he was attracted to it until he got there and figured out he had to work. It wasn't just going to be clicks. So he doesn't want clicks, right? But because the clicks aren't about him, that's why he's angry. Because if the clicks were about him, if the clicks weren't just about Travis Hunter and Shador and Shiloh, and they were all four of those kids, because he was supposed to be part of that little core of guys, one of Dion's guys. Well, he chose not to be one of Dion's guys. Dion didn't ostracize him and like kick him into the wasteland and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like he asked him to do certain things that he needed to do, and Cormani wouldn't do them, regardless of what the young man says. Those are what it is. And he decided to leave, and the transfer portal allows it. If he wouldn't have left, he would have had to stick around and actually figure it out, and we never would have known this was happening. So, look, man, the young man can be as disgruntled as he wants. The transfer portal is there for him to move on, and best of luck to him. Best of luck to Coach Prime and everybody up in Boulder as they move forward and they don't have him anymore. Obviously, you want to keep a five-star corner around, but to be honest with you, we've talked about this a lot. Sometimes the three-star kid is a little better player just because he doesn't have all the physical gifts. He has to work for it every day. So, if McClain really wants to go somewhere and play for a real program that doesn't do clicks, well, I don't know any program that's not on social media.
Here's my issue with this whole thing. For the kids' sake,
everybody's on social media, dog. You're getting clicked wherever you go. The clicks need to be about you, though. You're angry because the clicks aren't about you. You're not angry because there's clicks. Let's be real.
Yeah, if I took a job today, I'm going to be honest. I'm probably having everything videoed, and it'll be a mini Netflix series. Like that's
look. If you don't use the medium provided, if you're in high school and your dumbass can't figure out how to hit send and tag coaches, or you're a parent, you can't figure out social media because that's your excuse not to use technology. Or you're in college and you're one of these old school coaches. We don't need to do social media. It's for the birds. Get off my lawn. You're just falling behind. You're just dumb. So, again, in the information age, ignorance is a choice, and there sure are a lot of dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah, I look at it as a coach's perspective and as a former player, but as a coach. So I talked to Smitty, and I had this whole debate yesterday about this whole topic. And I'm sitting there like, we're quick to judge the kid on one end that we didn't coach, because I've had these kids that I've gotten from, let's say, Cormani's situation. 5-star, basically he's had his ass kissed his entire life. Let's keep it real. He was one of the number one recruits in America. And then I get him to my situation, and he's going to have a bump in the road. He's going to have hiccups and bumps in the road, and it's going to be a lot. So as the coach side of me, I'm like, well, fuck, what really does the kid have going on? Does he have special ed needs? Is he slow? Is he this? We all have those, by the way. All the players I ever coached are special ed. Those are my best players, actually.
All of them.
Time out. What did you just say?
Yeah, every player he ever got was special ed.
Special ed?
Fuck yeah.
Or did they have learning disabilities, or are they special ed? I don't know. I don't really want to go down this road with you because I feel like you're laughing now. And
I'm not laughing.
I don't know if we should joke about this one.
I'm not joking at all.
Are you telling me the buses you guys took to the fucking plane?
To me, it's special ed. Like,
I'm just saying, the buses you took to games, were they short or regular size?
Well, that's the other word.
JB, you do know your players are on the show live. Like, you got quarterback, you got like people in here questioning your players now who watch the show. So you might want to keep that to yourself. You got people in here questioning Latrell, and
that played for me.
They're like right now watching this. Like, Matt, imagine watching a show where your head coach, your former head coach, is saying, "Yeah, all my players were slow, especially the quarterbacks and the fucking running back. They were really
slow and special ed."
Dog, hold on, time out. My players know what I told their asses. Here's the thing. I was special. I was ADHD.
Alan, call in, Alan.
I'm ADHD. Alan was ADHD. Latrell's ass is ADHD.
They're not in the special ed class, though.
No, you know what I mean. So
I keep going.
Okay, so learning disabilities. Okay, I had them. We all had them.
That's crazy.
If learning disabilities are there, that kid needs to, like, in my opinion, he only knows what he knows, don't know what he don't know. So it takes a lot more to get through to that kid, Matt. You know that too, because you coach a shitload of them. It takes a lot more to get through that motherfucker. So I'm trying to play devil's advocate and defend the player here and the coach, because I know shitbirds also leave and disgruntled and talk shit. I get all that too. So, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, is he losing more than he's gaining, though, in a fairly young environment for Deion Sanders? Deion Sanders, in all regards, is pretty much a young coach. He's a player, he's a figurehead, he's a celebrity, but as a coach, he's really young. So, Allen was one of my favorite ever quarterbacks. So,
what's the question?
Is he gaining more than he's losing? And do we have to look at this at a different light? You have to put your coaching goggles on, Matt, and then you got to put your player goggles on, and then you got to put that you're an alum on, and then you got to put that I'm a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, you're in a very curious situation.
I'm gonna go football history here. Just my history at CU from 2000 on. Okay, not talking about what happened before then. In the 2000 recruiting class that I was in, we had an unbelievable class. I think we were ranked like 4th in the country. We had the #1 running back in the country named Marcus Houston on our team. He was unbelievably talented. But we also recruited Bobby Purify out of Colorado Springs, who turned out to be a way better player. We had Chris Brown coming in from Northwestern, who turned 6-touchdown Chris Brown, who was an unbelievable Big 12 offensive player of the year. We had Brian Calhoun, who was transferred to Wisconsin after his junior year and, like, didn't play a ton at CU, had a really good year and then left, was a pro. Cortland Johnson, who was an unbelievable fucking player out of Denver here, that was a senior at that time. And Eric Bieniemy is our coach, so he was really hard on everybody. Well, Marcus transferred in 2 years and couldn't play and needed his ankle spatted, and everything needed to be about Marquisha, and it was really contentious. And he transferred to our rival and started talking shit. So there's one #1 player of all time. All right, Daryl Scott in 2007 or something from Coach Hawkins, like 1st or 2nd big-time class. Huge fucking #1 running back in the country. Massive fucking player. 5-star everything. Didn't fucking amount to shit at CU. I don't even know if he really even played. All right, he was gone as fast as he came in the fucking room. All right, you look now, just fast forward this now to Coach Prime, okay? McClain's a 5-star. He's gone already. Like
you just lost a 4-star 10 minutes ago. Hopkins.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the 5s right now. When those guys are the elite recruits, right? The ones where you don't usually get them. There's only so many of them. Yeah. People get 4-stars all the time. I'm not minimalizing it, but I am saying that we're just talking about the biggers, the big timers. So I personally think that if you're looking at it like that, man, sometimes you got to look at the 5-stars and go, really? Do we really want to take a chance? Do we really why don't we go recruit the 3 or the 4-star kid that actually wants to play and is spited and is motivated by him not being a 5-star?
So are you questioning his recruiting tactic or or is there not enough time to investigate and do real data research?
I'm questioning how they rank.
Because we used to do much. Matt, let's be honest, all the naysayers and the fans out here that don't understand the process. Back in the day, we would recruit Smitty for 4 years. From a sophomore year when he became on my radar, I'm recruiting Smitty for 3 years solid, and I'm going to try to get a commitment from Smitty. I know everything about Smitty. I know his background, his mama, his auntie, who's making the call, what he likes to eat. I know everything. I bring him little things every time I visit his school. Here's a Snickers. You like a Snickers, Smitty? Here you go. So I built this relationship. Nowadays, I don't know if anybody is getting that relationship built anymore because they're mercenaries, and we're taking the portal kids over the recruiting the high school and building a relationship with the kid. So I don't know if it's the same. Matt, I don't know if it's the same, meaning that are we really, is it a hit and miss thing? Because we're never going to understand this kid's character.
100% hit and miss. And look, I don't know how you determine this. I don't know how you gauge it. I don't know how you're supposed to make a determination off of a kid by looking at him and meeting with him and not being able to coach him. I don't know how you're supposed to make a determination 100% off of a kid when he's playing against high school kids and he's just head and shoulders better than they are and he doesn't really need to play that hard or do things right. But then when he gets around grown, this is the whole grown man aspect of college football, right? Like we talked about Jordan Seaton, he's going to come in and has to show us the grown man's game, and he has. We haven't. That's how you know an O-lineman's doing well. We don't talk about him. No one said anything about Jordan Seaton because he's locked down the left tackle position, and there's a 5-star that actually operates like he's a 1-star, right? So if you can get a 5-star that'll operate like he's a nobody, you're probably going to get a pretty good football player out of it. If you get a young guy that's a 5-star or 4-star, no offense to everybody in the chat, and they operate as if they're already in the NFL from an ego standpoint, you're fucked, bro. There's nothing you can do about it. Like the kid is always going to have somebody in his ear telling him that the coach is wrong. And now you have an easy out because you can just go to the transfer portal. So
hey, Alan brings up a good point right here. I'm gonna have to hook you two up, Matt, anyway, so I can explain what Alan does now. But he's got a point here because the stars are being rated by guys who never fucking played. Yep. So like if you never played and you got no offense, but like this is why we talk about this all the time. But like Mina Kimes breaking down QB footwork to me is a laughing stock. Like I'm joking, I'm laughing at that, and I don't have no disrespect towards the broad. But, like, let's be honest.
Towards the broad?
I don't have no disrespect towards the broad. She's catching strays right out of all the names. He could have said that's why Levi. He could have just made a name up. He put a name and a number on it and said no disrespect. I love JD.
Dog. Like I'm telling you, Bailey, we got to go through and do like an all-time cut up clip of like everything this guy said.
Man, I love how JB saying no disrespect, but they did the broad.
I don't get it. But anyway,
continue. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So like, if this broad breaks down feet work, and I'm just sits there like, oh, really? The 3-step drop's not a fucking. You're taking a hit. If she's gonna break down feet work for me in the pocket, I'm looking at her and laughing. Right? The same thing for these fucking nobodies who now work for these franchises now that are doing 247 and all these fucking things that Matt probably deals with. These people have no fucking clue what this player really looks like. You know what they do? Oh, he goes to IMG and he's 6'8". He's number 1 on the board. Like, you don't have, and this motherfucker could be a total fucking, special ed kid. Like, I don't understand what we're doing here. I don't get it.
Okay.
Keep drinking, JB.
Just keep drinking. 247 and the U.S. All-American Ball and all these places that rank players. We need them because nobody else is. You two motherfuckers ain't out there doing that shit. So we need somebody to go find the players.
You know what? I should start doing that. Fuck.
Do it. Start doing it. Get your ass on a plane and start going around and start charting high school players. I'm sure
that's my guy, Steve Whitlow on 247 Sports, legend.
Like Blair and Julo at 247. Like
okay, man. Before you get going, I know you got a good point.
You gonna let me answer the question or not?
Well, I want you to don't forget what but I gotta throw this in there at you. Is high school really worth evaluating now if we're not recruiting them?
Yes. Whoa, time out. You're absolutely recruiting high school still. The transfer portal top 10%. That's elite college football. They're purging kids and tampering. You got guys going from elite college football that probably couldn't work out and dropping down. But the basis of college football will and always will be recruiting high school kids. Period.
Look,
if you don't recruit high school kids and you don't build a foundation,
you have no college kids.
Have no foundation when the fucking wind starts blowing, period. So you better recruit the high school kids. In my opinion, like Colorado State right up the street, Wyoming, Air Force, those, because Colorado doesn't recruit the high school kids around here. You're getting there's 6 or 7 Power 5 kids out of my gym right now that you could just pluck that CU isn't interested in because they only want the portal because they're year to year. They're not trying to build out. And I understand that they probably will disagree with me on that, but I'm of the mindset that this is like, enjoy this next year. That's all I'm saying, Buff fans. Enjoy.
I had a great conversation with a very influential administrator of college. Came over for my poker party Saturday. A woman, and I've known her forever. She's every Division I coach knows this woman. She was talking about a very interesting point. She said that she wants to get together and do something at the JUCO level because she believes the same as me. It is going to be dead and buried in the next few years because what's happened is we've lightened the what's the word? Well, the academic rigor in high school has been basically chopped. So you don't need a test score right now. You don't need a lot of these things. They use COVID as the excuse for that. So these kids now, if you don't get signed to play football, even though the academic rigor is so shit, like you can get into school now basically having a 2.0, let's be honest. You don't need a test score. What that's doing, Matt, is taking it, which you know already, it's taking those kids that don't get a scholarship, let's say they don't get offered, they sit out a year. And what we used to do, Matt, was retest, right? Oh, we didn't pass the SAT. Well, we'll sit out a year, retest, and then maybe make it, get Prop 48. This is back in Matt and I's days, way back. Yeah. Now, you don't need to do anything. And they're not going JUCO. And then the JUCOs aren't getting the kids to bounce back because they're sitting in the portal. So now you have no high school kids going to JUCO and you have no portal kids going to JUCO. JUCO is about to be dead and buried.
I agree.
And that is going to be a huge loss because now you don't have the mature, older kid who has to have some adversity in his life go back to the 4-year level. You're going to get a high school kid that's never done anything. He goes to Alabama, gets kicked out year 1 for fucking credit card fraud because he didn't learn anything. And then, bam, where does he go, Matt?
Very specific.
Where does he go? He doesn't go home. He goes into a portal. And he goes D2. He goes D2 now or some other level.
So, look, I'm going to use myself as an example here. I was not a very good student, and I was pretty reckless when I was in college. I got arrested a bunch, and thank God for Coach Barnett, Coach Wilson, because they never turned their back on me. Now, I could play, so that made it easier, but they never turned their back. They could have easily kicked me out. These days, the first time I got in trouble, I would be in the transfer portal because the coaches would look at it and go, we don't want to deal with this shit. And I would look at it and go, well, it's probably better if I just start fresh somewhere else. Sometimes it's just easier to stay and work through it and figure it out and then push forward through the adversity rather than just run around it. And I talk about this all the time. The transfer portal allows everybody, the coaches, the players, the parents, everyone involved to avoid the confrontation, to avoid the adversity, and then just fucking either bulldoze it out of the way or walk around it and be like, oh, well, we don't want to deal with the problem we created. Therefore, we're just going to move on. And That is not the way that the world fucking works. It's only the way that the transfer portal works. So I don't really know the answer to all these questions. If I did, I'd probably be in a position where I was answering these questions. But I will say this. The longer it continues like this, the worse the product is going to get.
Hey,
Because
Matt, before we got to get
it's getting really, really, really saturated and watered down.